there's too much this cropping up, it shouldn't be this, or something that's changed that we used to think a long time ago that's not the case now?
Probably the biggest thing is the volume. And if you look at, and I'm probably talking more towards the sharper end of things with this, but volume is absolutely massive for most guys who are competing internationally. Like, if you're not running 100 mile a week, the chances of you competing at international level are pretty slim. And that's something that changed, because if you go back to, you often hear about the golden era of Irish athletics was in the 70s and the 80s, where you had the Eamon Coughlin's and the John Tracy's and the Jerry Cairns. They were all in 100 mile a week. And we probably got away from that during the 90s. And I know in a lot of the Western countries, there was this drift towards more high intensity with a little bit less, or quite significant less volume. And that didn't work, because if you go back to the late 90s and early 2000s, there was very small presence of European and US athletes and Australian athletes on the circuit in terms of Diamond League and that sort of stuff. That's all changed again now. And if you look at a lot of the guys, I know from chatting to some of the lads who would have ran, like, sort of, Phil Sessamon, who ran 2:08 in Seville 2 weeks ago, he ran 2:08:04, qualified for the Olympics for the UK. Like, Phil ran, I think, 130 mile a week for 6 weeks in Kenya before he came back down. And that's not uncommon at the very high level. So in terms of a trend, it's high volume. Now, I'm not advocating everyone here goes out and tries to run 130 mile next week, because
thank God for that.
we have a physiotherapist on next week. But it is, volume is the big thing. And then the other part of it is intensity control, is just what I described with taking lactate during sessions. Is it's doing volume, but doing it in a way that's controlled, that's allowing you to do your workout today, give your body a nice stimulus, but come back again and be able to train twice again tomorrow, train twice again the next day, and just, again, stacking that on top of each other over weeks and months. So it's definitely, the volume is the big thing. That's probably the most recent trend. You hear people talking about zone 2. I kind of rolled my eyes a little bit with this zone 1, zone 2 stuff. It's just easy running. Run at a pace where you can have a conversation. Your heart rate's not going too high. You're not accumulating any lactate. It's not particularly difficult. It's very Instagram friendly to make it complex, but it's just go out and have a chat and have a run and get time on your feet.
To do a full circle on this, there's something I saw on Twitter this week, the Kenyan shuffle, where they were, this is what I want you think on it. And it's for those that don't know, and I didn't know this week, it looks like a very, 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 very slow run. Is there such thing as running too slow, or do they just make it look slow and they're actually going a lot faster? I can't tell. You said zone 1, zone 2 being fancy, but is there literally, because of that mountain mileage, I'm assuming a lot of it has to be very easy. Is there such thing as too easy and wasted mileage, or is miles in the legs, miles in the legs?
I'm very much of the opinion miles in the legs are miles in the legs. There's no such thing as too slow. Like, those Kenyan shuffles, I mean, the first year I went to Kenya, I went out with a group of athletes for an evening run one night, and they were just doing 40 minutes. They were 9-minute miling. That's 5:40 per kilometer. And these are athletes who were running like 3:30 low for 1,500. One of them was running 1:45 for 800 meters. I spent the whole run looking around, like, wondering where they were. And I was nowhere close to those times, let me tell you. If it's good enough for these guys to run at 9-minute miling, then I think there's a lesson in that for all of us. Now, they're not running 9-minute miling every day. That Kenyan shuffle thing, again, it's they did a lot of their warm-ups, and they're very easy stuff will be done at sort of 8 to 9-minute miling, so like sort of 5 to 5:40 per kilometer if you work in Ks. There is a certain amount of it easy. But even, I suppose, if you take it in terms of the race pace, so you're talking about, let's say, the women, top female marathon runners are under 2:20, right? So that's 5:20 per mile, 3:20 per kilometer. They're doing most of their easy runs at probably a minute per kilometer slower than that.